Welcome to the Aesthetics Injector Gang podcast. Having a gang of mentors in this industry has been a blessing that we wanted to share with you. Our core group has been traveling together and comparing notes about life and business for years. Tune in as we delve into topics with others in the industry that you are sure to love and make you laugh.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Aesthetics Injector Gang. I am super excited for today's guests, and I say that with an S because it's plural. I have some very gorgeous ladies if you are tuning in on our YouTube channel, but I have some gorgeous babes from Moxie, Mikyla and Becca. And they are not only our sponsors for the podcast, which we are super excited for this partnership, but we really wanted to dedicate this episode to you ladies so that you can explain how you guys can benefit us owners, injectors in the space on so many levels. So I will shut up and hand it over to Mikyla so you can introduce yourself and your role. And we also have Becca. So we'll learn about them and how Moxie can help you in your aesthetic game. So without further ado, go ahead, Mikyla.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate it. So I started in aesthetics in 2008. I transitioned into medical aesthetics in 2020. My experience expands from clinical, operational, and consulting roles. I've managed and scaled med spas, educated providers, supported new owners as they launch and grow. So today I get to do that with Moxie on the practice success team. So we help entrepreneurs turn that passion for aesthetics into a thriving business. And then we help combine that strategic insight with the hands-on industry experience to help them throughout the years in their launch and then growth with Moxie.
Love it. I love it. Becca, go ahead and let us know what your role is at Moxie.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm excited to be here, Brandon. Thanks so much for the invite. I am on the sales team at Moxie, so I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of med spa owners or providers who are looking to go out on their own or open their own practice and understand what their mission is, their goals, and then create the roadmap with the support of Moxie for them to be able to do that. And prior to being at Moxie, I have been helping entrepreneurs of all different types of industries launch and grow their business. So I've always been a part of like this entrepreneurship journey on the back end and helping dreams come true. So it's been a really wonderful opportunity at Moxie to talk to aesthetic entrepreneurs specifically.
I love that. I love your background, that it's varied and you just have a passion with helping people that have ideas, because there's so many things. I mean, I have terrible ADHD, as you guys have probably already figured out from like the 10 minutes that we talked before this podcast. But, sometimes it's like I wake up one day and I'm like, you know what? I can incorporate wellness into a Pilates studio too. Like, let's just like empower Pilates. Like, why not? Because I love Pilates. But I'm sure that you're really good at helping people streamline those random synaptic misfires too. So I'm so glad that you ladies could join today. And if you could just kind of describe a little bit more, I know you each kind of gave a little piece about what Moxie can do for someone that is aspiring in aesthetics, but can you take a little bit of a deeper dive and let us know kind of how someone maybe that's listening, that's interested in aesthetics, could utilize Moxie and the services to jumpstart their career or optimize maybe a path that they maybe are going down and maybe not in the 100% correct way and maybe need to pivot and partner with you to make their dream come true?
Cool. I'll take that one. So I think the first thing I'll say is a lot of individuals out there think about Moxie and they say, oh, Moxie BBL, I love that device. And so I just want to first say, like, that's a common misconception, especially if someone's listening to this podcast and they heard us opening with Moxie, they might have already went there of like Moxie BBL, what are these gals talking about? Moxie is not a device. We are an all-in-one solution for med spa entrepreneurs, specifically for aesthetic injectors. The I guess the headline of what Moxie is we help providers launch, run, and grow their med spa medical aesthetic practice. For someone who's looking to open up their practice, we're giving them everything that they need to be able to open legally, compliantly, with a lot of support, a lot of handholding. For a practice that's already open and looking for a tool, maybe a better EMR or better marketing or even better product discounts, Moxie can really step in and provide that type of support of an area of the business that maybe is a challenge as an entrepreneur. So again, like I guess the headline is we're an all-in-one solution for med spa entrepreneurs, everything from software, services, and support.
I love that. You guys know my background. I recently started Empower Aesthetics, and I think my tagline for life is, I know enough to be dangerous about a lot of things. And, I pulled part and parcel from a lot of the key relationships that I made to open up Empower, but you guys have kind of already streamlined that. So kind of walk me through that experience. Let's pretend I didn't go through what I just went through to open up Empower. So let's say, I'm an RN injector. We'll put the CPOM legal stuff to the side for now, knowing that of course I need a medical director, but walk me through that journey. If I have the experience, maybe I was working somewhere and, I have that drive and vision to open up my own practice. So what do those first steps kind of look like?
So the first thing that happens is typically you're probably Googling like how to find a medical director, how do I open a med spa?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Moxie's the first website that you see that pops up and it says like we will help you launch and grow your practice. When you inquire in Moxie, you would talk to one of our amazing sales reps to just understand like what's the vision you have, like why now, why is this important now, what are you thinking, what kind of treatments do you want to offer, and then from there starting to create a really solid plan of this is the type of medical director you're going to need and supervision. Of course, I'm not an attorney, this is more of just a business conversation, but we would identify what kind of entity structure you would need, and then begin to roll out policies and procedures and the protocols for that practice, building software, building a website, getting the pharmaceutical account set up, in marketing, all the things within 30 to 45 days. By the 45th day, we can typically launch the practice, and then Mikyla or one of the other amazing practice success coaches at Moxie begin to hold that provider's hand and ensure that they're set up for success for the long term.
That's amazing. Do you guys help with sourcing locations too, to a certain extent, or?
Yeah. So we have an onboarding team that works between when Becca gets them rolling and then when the practice success takes over. So the onboarding team essentially will help them find their location. That really is a big part of it, knowing where to go, knowing what other local competition looks like. So we do help them gauge what kind of size space they need, what a good location is, heavy foot traffic, things like that. It is ultimately up to the provider. So there are definitely times that a provider is like, I want to go here in this space. And we're like, here's why we wouldn't recommend it for XYZ reasons, but we just want to make sure they know those reasons and know the expert's input, but they get to make the decision. But we do really help support them. They, are obviously their own boots on the ground. So they go visit it and take a peek and see what they see. But our onboarding team will coach them through that as well.
I love that. I think that saves so much time for someone that, I've been in the industry a little bit. It feels like 5 years, but it feels like 50. 5 years full time, and injecting for a little bit longer, knowing what I know now and trying to, circle back to 5 years ago and walking in blindly and at least having that little spark, but not really knowing where to go with it. I can see that there's so much value in the way that you guys help people avoid pitfalls of, wasting energy on devices that you probably don't need right off the bat, or spending more on product than is necessary in the beginning. I'm sure that you guys have tons of success stories from people that may have had that experience and then started to work with you. That has to be so valuable. So what is your top advice for an experienced injector looking to become an entrepreneur that doesn't really know where to go first? Is it really just start off with that discovery call, or is there some other homework that they should do first?
Yeah, I think scheduling, like, taking that first leap into anything is going to be scary. And I think that's usually what we see that stops people is that fear.
Mhm.
And that's, I think the beauty of what Moxie does is our suggestion is just don't do it alone. Especially if you're coming from a different industry and you want to go into aesthetics, your clinical skill doesn't automatically translate into your business success. So partnering with experts that can help you build a really strong foundation, build a really strong brand, understand compliance, which I swear people don't even understand it after they think they understand it, and then it'll just go and change. But partnering with a company like ours is really just how you know that you have someone in your corner. So we'll help you launch, and then we'll keep you up to date on all of those constant changes, just so that you're not guessing your way through it.
Absolutely. And I think, speaking to like the understanding compliance and the legalese, in a future episode, we're going to be hearing from my legal team, and they were amazing and instrumental in helping me understand, being in a corporate practice of medicine or CPOM state, what that all entails. And I'm sure that you guys come across people that are operating not so compliantly. It's a struggle, but this is the Wild West, unfortunately, and it's not going to be like this forever. But sometimes it is. What I know that you guys, this is not meant to provide legal advice, but you kind of touched on it, Becca, about providing a little bit of guidance as to like what you would need in your state. Obviously, we know like nurse practitioners in some certain states can operate with full independent practice. And I'm in Pennsylvania. That is not true. So, how deep and granular does Moxie get with an individual whenever they are setting up or trying to set up their own practice? Do you guys, are you full service once you're locked and loaded, or do you have to like outsource any of your legal formation and all of that kind of stuff, or do you have like an in-house legal team?
Great question. We're totally full service, and we have the healthcare attorney team to ensure that we are providing the right insights per state and per license. And so there's no need to go and hire an external counsel or group to be able to create entity structures and agreements between you and a medical director and MSOPC agreements. We have all of that in-house. We have templates and forms, everything you would need from the MSOPC all the way to policies and procedures.
Nice. Well, I'm just thinking of all the time you could have saved me. That's amazing, because that's a big thing. I know when I opened up Empower, I really wanted to do everything 100% by the book, because I know eventually there's going to be laws and more enforcement enacted, and being ahead of the curve, I think, is smart. And we'll see some people that aren't so compliant, falling to the wayside. But I love that Moxie has that, kind of all encompassing kind of reach around somebody that wants to fulfill their dream and really operate efficiently, effectively, and compliantly in this crazy era that we're in. As my friend Evelyn always says, what a time to be alive, right?
It is. In fact, we have a study that was recently published, and we'll have to do a fact check on this, but it shows that 80% of med spas today are operating out of compliance in some way or another. And that can be anything from the current structure of their organization all the way to, are they even doing good faith exams and patient assessments, and are they charting appropriately, and is their MD signing off on charts? So it's such a giant topic, and I'm really excited to listen to your next podcast on it, because it is massive. And I think there's too many moving pieces for a solopreneur, as you call it, or any kind of business owner to fully understand the ins and outs. And it's expensive. It's an investment to hire a experienced healthcare attorney in the medical aesthetic space to provide you with the right kind of insights and advice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's its own category of like thinking about going out on your own, is how much should I save for the legal expense of operating?
Absolutely. Speaking of expenses, let's talk about kind of the products and partners that you guys have and can offer someone. So, I'm thinking of the relationships that I have and the products that I have. I mean, it's costly. Not only just kind of fending off, the laser reps. I love lasers. I just, don't want them right now. I'm new. Thank you very much. But, trying to figure out which products to carry and how much and all the ordering and the cost. You guys have simplified that because you have kind of strategic relationships with these vendors, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So we partner with, I mean, there is a long list of pharmaceutical companies and then skincare companies, even device companies as well that we partner with that can give you, over 50% in some cases off of the list price. So that is really the hardest thing we see for people who want to go out on their own is they don't get national pricing. They're one individual location. But with Moxie, you get that big company pricing and you get some really, really good breaks. And then with that, you also have your practice success managers. And with our team, we have a combined 122 years of experience in aesthetics. So our PSMs are very well equipped to tell you, here's exactly what you need to order for this week of work. Here's what you should be thinking about for this uptick in business. We know when the end of each, pharma quarter is and when they're going to be coming down to say, hey, it's time to buy that device. And we do alert our providers and say, hey, you might get some pushback from this company. Their quarter ends the next couple weeks. So you may have some reps asking for a little bit of a bigger buy-in. Just know your margins, know your numbers, know what you have on your book and what you actually need to order and keep your expenses tight. We also have an internal Moxie bookkeeping system as well. So if providers are opted into that bookkeeping, we can see their P&L and we can see where their profit margins are, and we can help guide them on specific and strategic purchases to help increase their profit margins too, which is really, really fun to coach on.
I love that guidance because I think that's one thing that people don't really understand is the benefit that they can get from bulk buying quarter per quarter, and sharing that love depending on all of the services that you are offering and all the products. And I think that a lot of people just don't know what's going to hit exactly until you're in operation, right? I feel like you at least have to live through a season to figure that out. I mean, I'm feeling that now being 4 or 5 months in. So I love that there's support and guidance. It's not like, okay, we set you up. We've built your house. We've filled it with furniture. Good day. See you never. You check in. And I feel like that's, Mikyla, your role is to follow people. What does that cadence of communication look like? Is it a Zoom call? Is it a phone call? Is it texting? Like what kind of relationship do you have with the providers kind of after the initial onset of their practice building?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's really up to the providers. I have some that I know of that are very hands off and they're like, I'll call you when I need you, which is totally fine. What we like to do in those first 4 to 6 weeks phases of that like pre-launch period, right when they're getting ready to open their doors, because the PSM will meet them or practice success manager will meet them about 2 weeks before they're ready to open. So for those first 4 to 6 weeks, we do like to meet weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, depending on how quickly they're trying to launch. But we do try and meet with them weekly as much as possible. And then we move to every other week. We have some providers that prefer like a monthly cadence where we do a business review for about an hour and go through goals and next steps and what they need to focus on. I have a few people that like quarterly as well. I have a few people that never want to meet on a Google or Zoom and they just want to text me and email me, and that's cool too. It's really up to the provider and the PSM on how they want to structure it. We just want to be your biggest cheerleaders. We want to help coach you through the tough moments. We want to have full open communication and just strong sense of trust because we do have their backs, and any way that we can really kind of work with them through anything that they're going through and anything that they need, like that's our ultimate goal. So it's really up to their preference.
I love that. I love that kind of like support and guidance because I know, sometimes it feels like you're alone on an island being a business owner. I'm fortunate to have, some part-time injectors, but it's always nice. And of course I have the Aesthetics Injector Gang, gaggle that I can bounce ideas off of, and clinical experience and, kind of wearing all the hats. but it's nice that if someone doesn't have that, that they have that with Moxie. Um, one
Brandon,
thing
I'd
that,
love to ask you a question on how do you pick what products you're going to carry? I mean, there's so many different amazing products out there with neurotoxins and fillers and biostimulators. How do you specifically decide what are you carrying and what your patients might love?
oh, that's a great question. So I always love to say that I selflessly donate my face to the cause for a lot of things. So I just turned 40. I know, don't gasp. I know I don't look like it, but it's a lot of well-placed products. So I really wanted to strategically align with one partner, and primarily right now that's Galderma, to bring on their neurotoxins and their HA fillers and biostimulator Sculptra. So I just really like it personally. From a price point, it's been the most, I'll say, cost effective for a newer business. And I just really like the rep relationship. I think that is almost more than, well, I shouldn't say more important, but it's almost as important as the products themselves, right? But I mean, I've been a Dysport user for over a decade. It's the one toxin versus all the others on the market that lasts the longest, in my opinion. You know, but that's my opinion. So, you know, I am working on bringing on some more products, but behind me, I have private label skincare with Brand MD. Again, very effective products, lower cost point, but I do have some back bar from PCA as well. I'm playing with Toscani topicals because they're just really cool for microneedling. So, Airy Essence, I'm dabbling in that because PDGF is one of the trending things. So, you know, I love all of those things. Oh, PRF too. Cell filler PRF is awesome for the biofiller aspect to give people something natural, but also just a topical PRF. I've had some really great results with hair restoration. So that microneedling, those are my faves that I can think of, but I'm really not a fan of having like all the things because I'm in a little space too. My studio is not that big, so I don't really have the luxury to have all the things. But I don't think you need to have all the things. I think you need to strategically have the things that are going to align with your patients and your population goals and things that can kind of act as a dual purpose if they need to, and stretch and be nimble because, you know, I don't want to have to afford, you know, 4 different lines of filler. You know, someday I'll get there,
Sure.
but today's not that day.
No, that's
So
good. Thank you for sharing that. You said it in the very beginning, the rep support is really important. And Moxie encourages that with all of the pharmaceutical companies that we work with. And sometimes entrepreneurs don't necessarily have the luxury of like knowing who their reps are and getting the rep support. And if you can get it, I think it really is a game changer. So love to hear you're getting that from Galderma. That's wonderful.
absolutely. And I have meetings with everyone. I always say, take a meeting, you know, and I'm very blunt. I'm like, I don't want to waste your time, but I think it's good to establish a relationship because one day that, you know, might change and I might need, you know, the new fillers from Evolysse because they're sexy. And, you know, it's just all about brokering that relationship, and figuring out what kind of support you're going to have. And it's not just like, okay, I'm going to put an order in and see you never. So all kinds of factors I'm sure that you guys coach people on too, right?
The big one. I mean, definitely probably one of the biggest ones that Mikyla sees is like how to choose and how to differentiate at the same time and also have autonomy about what you want to purchase and when you want to purchase it and how to not get on that crazy wheel of getting on terms and sitting on product and not having a place to store it. So there's so many factors as I'm sure you've experienced.
Absolutely. So you brought up a great word, Becca, and I was going to get there, but you're bringing it to the top of my mind now. So autonomy. So some people may think that joining Moxie, they are stripped away from their ability to curate the experience that they want with the brands that they want to create. So, you know, can you kind of explain kind of that aspect from being like a solo business owner, how Moxie works with people instead of, you know, kind of mandating that you must have this and you must carry this. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great question and call out. Moxie is not an owner of the practice. It's 100% your business. We're here as a support system to really lift you up and help you make great business decisions. So we will make recommendations just based off of numbers and the data that we have with working with over 400 practices. So we are like very much data driven, insights driven, experience driven team. But at the end of the day, it's your practice. We have no ownership on it. We have a performance fee for the services and support that we're offering, and that's it. Like period. The end. We don't claim ownership of the practice or revenue share off of your business as a partner would.
I was going to say, I have a great example of this, and she will know who she is if she's listening. But I had a provider who was in a small one-room suite, and she was like, I wanted to buy a device. I want to move into a bigger location. And I kept coaching her, like, you should be at these marks when you start thinking about this. Like, I think it's a little premature. I wouldn't jump the gun on it yet. Do you want these? And she did. She moved into a big space that now has 5 rooms, and she hired staff, and she bought a device. And we got to shift our conversations of like, okay, well, now what do we do with it? How do we grow it? And she has almost quadrupled her revenue in a few short months. So you don't have to follow our guidelines at all, but we're still going to coach you and we're still going to support you. And we're going to say, okay, that was your decision. That's awesome. Here's what we need to now do with it in order to make sure that you remain profitable. You can take a paycheck, you support your staff, you can run your payroll, you keep the lights on, and not have to walk away from something that you've built and, put all of your heart and soul into. So we have hundreds of examples like that of all the times where we don't want autonomy over your business. We want it to remain uniquely you, keep your branding, keep everything. Use our support, use our platform, and use our discounts to the best of your advantage to help you grow and keep your paycheck in your pocket.
I love that. It sounds like you guys probably do a lot of like, I'll lead the horse to water, but I can't make it drink, based on facts, not feels. Because I think a lot of people like to do it. And, not all injectors are the best business people, right? We never went to, I went to nursing school. I know enough to be dangerous about a lot of things. I, worked for a software company. I'm not the most business savvy. I did get a third of an MBA, I will say, from Seton Hill University during COVID because I was like, well, what else am I supposed to do? So while my previous employer was paying for that, thank you, they no longer exist. But, I did take advantage of that opportunity, but not everybody gets that luxury. So it's nice to have like people that have your best interest at heart because the better that person does, the better that they can grow their business and brand. And that also benefits Moxie. So I think that's great. Is there anything that is kind of currently trending? We're now Q2 2025. Like, is there anything that you guys are seeing across the board as far as trends? Are lasers up, fillers kind of are down, biostimulators I feel like are going up? Anything that you can drop a pearl of wisdom just for anybody listening as far as service trends.
Oh boy, service trends. I was thinking about a different trend, if that's okay. And then I'll think a little bit deeper on service trends. Well, of course, the service trends, I think Airy Essence is the talk of the town everywhere I go and all the different event circuits. It's definitely top of mind. I think a lot of providers are coming to us asking, like, do you have a relationship with Airy Essence? Can I get my hands on PDGF? So seeing a lot of that and exosomes too, I think is exciting in its own way. I think AI, like automating your business, finding operational excellence with more I think can be really transformative for a lot of practices. We suggest that you all spend way more time with your patients, which we know that you love to do. And there's a lot of really great systems out there that can optimize patient communications, outreach, win backs, follow-ups, even like the phone systems. And I think that that's currently an underutilized tool, but growing really, really fast. And I would encourage anyone who doesn't currently use any kind of AI to explore it for their practice.
100%. I'm actually literally now implementing an AI software for my phone and for a chat bot. Her name is Remy. She's almost done, but I literally hate answering the phone. I know it's terrible, but I can't. And usually I'm by myself. So I like physically can't, or I'm not in a space where it just makes sense for me to answer. So I 100% agree with you. I think that we're moving away from ChatGPT creating blogs and going into a whole new realm, which it's not a bad thing. You just have to personalize it. Like you can get like a nice little shell from ChatGPT for blogs, but you got to like make it your own. But I think AI is getting good, maybe a little too good. We'll see. But for the phone, I'm very impressed. I have to test her like 10 minutes every day. It's a chore, but it's like literally training a little virtual assistant.
And it's probably giving you so much time back, right? Once she's fully trained, it's going to take hours from your schedule and put it back into seeing patients.
100%. And I think I'll get a lot more tracking and analytics from my website because I see, people visit, you see like how many seconds per page, are they engaged, blah, blah, blah. But like for someone to interact and possibly book from there or give them a little bit more information than just blindly searching, I think it's going to be amazing. And I hope it is. But there's little things that are just really helping to, like you said, give me some time back. So, no, I appreciate that. As far as service trends, I think I already touched on it, to be honest. PDGF is hot. I do have some great before and afters, but, fillers, I think it's been a little hit or miss. I don't know if you guys have been seeing like a little bit of a downtrend, but I think that the current economy has a little bit of a mix depending on your area. A lot of the government layoffs have been a thing, but there's ways to pivot, and I'm glad that people have support from PSMs like Mikyla to help navigate these little choppy waters, right? All right, I blabbed on enough. I do have one question that I think is amazing, and I just really want to hit this before we wrap it up. What is the biggest mistake that you see new med spa owners make, and how they can avoid it?
I always see them trying to do too much and too fast. Like either they launch with too many services or they have really unclear branding. They don't know who their market is or what their ideal persona is, inconsistent processes, things like that. So I always try and fix this or coach into this by just getting them to stay focused, nail your niche, one experience, and then scale from there. If you're not trained in filler, start with your tox. Even things like Sculptra, where it's actually really safe to do and pretty easy to do. Like there's so many ways that you can slowly grow your business. You don't need devices. You don't need 9 different neurotoxins, so you can play with them all. Start with what you know, build a strong and loyal clientele. If you're just starting out into the industry, like you can definitely focus on quantity of patients so that you can get more practice, but dialing in on that quality and building your customer referrals and then growing up from there. I see so many people buy this random device, like they think that they need laser hair removal, but then they come to find out that none of their loyal clientele wants laser hair removal and they want something like RF microneedling, but they've already invested and they didn't get that information before they moved into growing. So I just always tell people, don't start too fast, slow it down, take it a day at a time. It's not as soon as I open my doors or as soon as I build it, they will come. Like you really do have to work on it every single day. And it's okay when it is a slow growth. Like we're here to help and we're here to guide you. But starting with too much too fast is just really the biggest pitfall that I always see.
Becca, what do you hear whenever you're first listening to someone share their hopes, dreams, and wishes? Some people that may be just taking off a little bit too much of that rainbow bite.
I agree with just like the operational structure of doing something for booking and another thing for an EMR and then finding another company for marketing. And now they just have all these expenses. I think that can be a real challenge. But I think that like number one area that I see a lot of practice owners struggle with is compliance. Truly it's constantly evolving and changing based off of license and state and what's allowed and not allowed. And in fact, like just this year in Ohio and Arizona, things have changed. Pennsylvania, things have changed. And a lot of providers don't have the resources to know what they need to be operating in compliance. And again, like I always go back to, you've worked so hard for your license. Get really obsessive about the compliance items so that you can continue to protect yourself, your business, your license, and especially your patients.
100%. Well, ladies, I am so excited that we got to do this today. I'm so glad that we have a little partnership now. And I'm so glad that this exists because, honestly, had I realized the depth and breadth that you guys go to help support solopreneurs, I think Empower might look a little bit different, but here we are, and I might pick your brain from time to time, so watch out. But if anybody on the podcast side of life wants to get in touch with you guys, it's not moxiebbl.com. The website is
joinmoxie.com.
Absolutely. And we'll put that all in the show notes. But yeah, so is that the best way for people to get in touch, is to go through the website?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a ton of free resources, and I think we have our own compliance webinar, I think potentially tomorrow. And then we're doing a PDGF webinar in July. So lots of free resources for anyone that's interested. We do courses, webinars. We also have a training directory. So if someone's out there looking for more training, hands-on training, advanced courses, we have an entire, very comprehensive, truly the world's best training directory, and we give $1,000 scholarship every single month to anyone that inquires. So please check it out. And Brandon, if you offer training, make sure you get your training information on our website.
That's amazing. Yeah, not yet. Nobody wants to learn from me, but someday. I do business consulting, but not injecting just yet, but that will change. Yes. But thank you guys so much for taking some time out to help educate our audience about your services. I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that there are competent people out there helping to shape the future of aesthetics. So thank you very much.
Thank you for leading this conversation. It's so important, and we're grateful to be here.
All right, guys. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Brandon.
And thank you for tuning into another episode of the Aesthetics Injector Gang. And have a great rest of your day, guys. Until the next episode.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and comment. Follow us on Instagram at the Aesthetics Injector Gang.